he's a fruitful.
Fruitable.
Yeah.
What are the? That's red. Oh, what's that called?
No, carnivore. I think you're thinking of my dad.
Nah, there's those other guys. There's those black Americans.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's. I reckon that's how we're supposed to be living, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Our
our
bodies,
teeth
yeah.
are made for fruit,
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
only made for fruit.
and our hands can just open it. Like
Yeah.
we can just
Yeah.
grab fruit off the tree and open it. Yeah. I did some research on that a while ago as well, and I was like,
What is his name? It's like right on the tip of my tongue.
it's called like yucky awaken or something. This dude, he
Yeah.
preaches about it hard out.
Oh yeah, my brother's like hard out. He's like, I don't have BO, I don't smell. When he goes toilet, he doesn't stink.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah, it's just he's like, I don't even have to wear perfume or anything, and his skin's all clean, and he feels
That's
younger.
amazing.
He's got
Whoa.
way more energy.
Yeah.
and he's like way more toned and everything. And I'm like,
Yeah,
what
that
the
guy Yucky, he had like a overdose on cocaine, and everything stopped working. Like he couldn't even like get an erection anymore. Like he was
Oh,
fucked.
yeah. Because he was on
He
heaps of meds
developed
as well.
yeah.
epilepsy and all these other things, and he was on all these meds, and then one day he was just like, fuck these meds, like, yeah, they're stopping me from having seizures and stuff, but I got no quality of
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
And that's when it's a guy, Dr. Sebi,
Yeah.
yeah, and he's passed away now, but he actually ran all these natural clinics over in India, and he...
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's like, and it's called something. It's Dr. Sebi something.
Yeah.
And he's like cured cancer and
Yeah.
stuff. It's insane. But
That's
you have
like
to
Dr.
fully-
Robert Morse.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
cured.
Who's that?
Yeah.
Oh, he's
He's-
like another fruitable.
Yeah.
Just like my brother swears by him.
Yeah.
He's like all herbs and everything.
Yeah. Hard because
so cool.
it cures everything, eh?
It does.
Yeah, that's crazy. I might try that next.
Why not?
Because right now I'm doing that 100 days of just natural,
Yeah.
like meat, carbs, like natural carbs and natural veggies and all that shit. I'm
Yes.
almost over now though. Next week I'll be done, so I'll be eating some pizza and shit.
Yeah. Gonna celebrate with food. I've like had to postpone my birthday
Oh,
so that we can eat together because I don't want to eat piece of shit by myself.
yeah, true. It's not enjoyable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's
Yeah. Anyway,
yeah. So
welcome to the podcast, Mea.
welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
No
excited
worries.
to have you on here.
Yeah, we are. Been wanting to do this for a while.
Yeah.
We actually wanted to get you before Alina and Isaac.
Yeah.
And it just worked out like this.
And we also like, oh, maybe we have to get the kingpins on first before we get the fighters on.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They are so
True.
interesting though, eh? How they
Yeah.
make it all work, like business and kids and
They're
boxing.
crazy.
They're crazy.
Isaac's the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
yeah.
a mental case.
But you guys run it all together, eh?
Yeah.
Like you guys do a lot of work as well yourselves
Yeah.
in the gym, eh?
Hard out. We all help where it's needed.
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
And he just constantly wants to teach us, and he only wants the best for us.
Yeah. Hard
So
out.
as we're, even though we're boxing, he's not just helping us in boxing, he's helping us outside of boxing,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
for our daily
Yeah.
life and teaching us how
Which
to run a
is
business
so
and
cool.
everything.
That's cool as.
Because one of the biggest problems I know, like with Mike Tyson and people like that, was there was no fighters union, was there? And no
Yeah.
one to teach these guys how to spend their money or like invest their money or what to do with it. So yeah, when he told us about that, we were like, that's so cool.
Yeah, hard.
Yeah.
And how long have you been boxing for anyway?
3 years with Isaac,
Hey.
professionally.
And what about before that?
I was in and out as a young kid,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then never really took it serious. I hated it, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
I did not like it. I only did it just to please people.
Yeah.
So when I came to professional, I was like, nah, I'm not doing it. I was too scared at first. I was like, hell no, Isaac, I'm not doing it.
So did you join Peach and become professional straight away?
Yeah.
Oh,
like
shit.
I joined, but I only joined just to come do fitness. Like
Yeah.
I thought, I'm going to, do fitness, because I just finished having a baby. And he
Yeah.
was like, nah, you're going to be a pro fighter. I was like, yeah, nah, I'm not.
Yeah.
You're joking, right? And I thought he was joking, honestly. And it wasn't until like I started training and he just kept repeatedly saying it to me. And I was like, no, I'm not doing it. And then he was like, you're fighting. And I was like, okay, I'll just give it a go. And I was bloody scared at first. And then it all happened. And I was like, yeah, okay, let's do this.
That is
Dang.
crazy.
And when was that? When was your first fight? Like,
November the 16th.
was that 2020?
Yeah.
Oh, yo.
That was
Dang.
the day that our son was born.
Oh, wow.
November 16th, 2020.
Oh, buzzy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's how I remember that. Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh my gosh. So you've achieved all of this in 3 years.
Yeah.
Have you noticed the change in your life?
I've noticed a big change. You know,
Throughout the 3 years, or just now that you've like?
throughout the 3 years.
Yeah.
And the biggest change would have been just in a year, just the year being like, last year is where it just completely flipped. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
shit, this is moving too fast.
Yeah.
It was
They
too-
say that's what happens though.
Was
Yeah.
so that's after you won the world title?
Yeah.
That's
After the world
crazy.
title, it was like overwhelming. Like, it took me like 3 weeks to like, I didn't know where, I felt really lost, confused. I didn't feel like a winner because everything was so overwhelming for me. But it was the gym and Isaac that kept it alive. And I was like crashing. Like,
Yeah.
I literally felt like I was drowning. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't feel like a champion myself.
Yeah.
But everyone was telling me I was a champion.
Yeah.
But inside, I didn't
It's
feel
a lot
like
of
one.
build up, eh?
Yeah.
And it's a lot of like anticipation of what it's going to feel like when you become
Yeah.
Because you'd just, you'd want to be believing it before it happens. And then
Yeah.
it happens, it's like, oh, this is it.
Yeah, and like when it did, like literally, I went home straight away after I won, and I couldn't sleep
Yeah.
because I was like, what the heck happened? Like, I should be celebrating, but I couldn't. Like, I felt really emotional and drained, and I just physically, my body didn't want to move
Yeah.
because I was just like, I was still in shock, but I felt like I was so depressed, and I couldn't understand why, because I was like, why am I depressed?
Yeah.
Why do I
Yeah.
feel like I'm in a dark place?
It's just expectation, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was the
Yeah.
expectation, because I felt like because I have such a high standard for myself, I felt like it wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so true. You just never know what that like top feeling is going to feel like
Yeah. And
until
it's
you've
not,
got it. And then it's like, oh shit.
but the good thing, I was lucky. What kept me going was that I was surrounded by good people, and Isaac just kept reminding me every time, like, you're the world champion. And I'm like, yeah, I don't feel like one.
Yeah.
And then, but everyone in the gym just kept reminding me. And then all of
Yeah.
a sudden, like after 3 weeks, and I just settled down, and then it finally hit me, and I was like, oh, wow,
Yeah.
I am a world champion. Like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
And I was like, because I was like, what's the purpose for me? Like, what's the purpose of winning a world title? Like, how do I give? Because I'm such a giver.
Yeah.
And so, like, because I felt like I won a world title, but what was I giving to the people? And I felt like I was giving nothing.
Yeah.
And I think that's what made me so depressed. And it wasn't until like 3 weeks later, then I started reading all my messages and realizing like the impact that I had for younger generation.
Yeah.
And it just hit me. It emotionally hit me. And I just was like, man, I think I know where my calling is. And I was like, it's building our next generation.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized, I was like, nah, I want to keep doing this because I want to keep inspiring our younger generation, because when I was young, I struggled mentally and physically.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I wanted to do, what I wanted to be, and I couldn't understand life. I struggled in life right up till like the age of 29.
Yeah.
And like I still felt lost and confused. So when I realized the impact I could do for our generation underneath me, I was like, man, now I know my
Yeah,
purpose. Like,
yeah.
this is why I'm doing boxing.
Yeah.
I want to do it because I want to inspire the next generation, because
Yeah.
we have so much talent here.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
it makes me so emotional. Like, people don't actually see that side of me, because
Yeah.
I'm quite good at hiding it.
Yeah.
But it makes me really emotional, because that's why I love watching boxing, because I just love watching our younger generation
Yeah.
just grow. And then also seeing our older generation, like actually getting in there and giving it a go. Like, people get so disappointed about losing, but it's not about the loss. It's about, what did you learn from that fight?
Yeah.
Did you learn something positive?
Yeah.
And that's the growth there.
Yeah.
And that's the greatness.
Totally.
So like, I realized
That's
my
inside
calling.
and out the ring as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
100%.
Like everything, there's a lesson in everything, and especially losses. There's
Yeah.
huge lessons there. So take us back to Little Mea. Like, where did you grow up?
I grew up in a small little town called Pukipoto, which is in the far north,
Yeah.
up in Kaitaia. So it's in
Wow.
between Kaitaia and Aipara.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was my home. I was a little hoary, rough and rugged. I loved bare feet, and I loved jumping in cow shit. Yeah, that's how I grew up as a kid, and milking cows,
Yeah.
having fresh milk, going pig hunting, and diving. Definitely what I loved and enjoyed.
Yeah.
Me.
Yeah.
Awesome. And so what were you like at school and things like that? Or like, what kind of kid were you?
I was a very rebel child.
Yeah.
I thought I was a boy, to be honest.
Yeah.
I would run around being a boy, a typical tomboy.
Yeah.
I hated girly things. My parents would dress me up in girl dresses. I'd rip them off and get all muddy and dirty and I'd chase the pigs and just get rough and dirty. That's what I loved. And I loved a game of bull rush. Like, game of bull rush was my number one thing. I would always play the kids in bull rush and I'd think I was the best, but I'd get smashed.
Shit.
And what else happened up? Like, when did you discover boxing, like, in your life? Or were you forced to do it? Or
when I discovered boxing, to be honest, it was my mum that got me into boxing. Like, I was really good at soccer. And like I was playing Auckland reps for soccer, so my mum wanted me to get fit, and so I was like, okay, I'll do boxing. And because most people don't know this, my mum's cousin is Shane Chopper Chapman, so that's how I got into boxing, because he told my mum where to go, and he was kind of like, oh, you should do kickboxing. I was like, no way, I'm looking after my legs, I'm too young for that. And because I seen all his kickboxing, I was like, yeah, nah. Hell no, I'm not having no split shins.
Yeah.
So like I was so anti when it came to kickboxing. So I ended up giving boxing a go, and I just trained and did the fitness classes at Boxing Central.
Oh, it's in Auckland. Oh.
In Auckland.
So when did you come down from up north?
So I came down to Auckland when I was about 12 years old, 12, 13. And like I hated my parents for doing that. I felt like my whole childhood had been ripped away, and coming to a big city, a place that was so foreign to me.
It's such a big move. It's such a
Lifestyle
vulnerable age as well. Like, you got your friends, you got your family, you got your whole lifestyle outdoors.
Yeah, outdoors and being in a marae. So like that was like, and pig hunting and diving was like the number one thing up there.
Yeah.
And then you come down here and it's like big buildings. It's like, where do I go diving? Where do I go pig hunting? And then it's like you go to a school where you have to have uniform. And I was like, and you have to have shoes. And I was like, yeah, nah, this is not me.
Yeah.
I felt so uncomfortable and I felt out of place.
Yeah.
So I felt disconnected at school.
Yeah. Did you stay through school?
Yeah, I stayed right up till I was 16.
Yeah.
And I kind of just walked away and started being a rebel because I just hated it. I hated school. I struggled, and like I had lots of friends, but I couldn't connect with friends because I was more closer to like my cousins and family, and they're like the bond that I had with them, it felt special, and like I trusted them.
Yeah.
And I could tell them anything. So when I met friends, it was hard. It was hard like to be friends. Like I'd say they'll be my friends, but I would never hang out with them because I'd just be like, yeah, nah,
You don't get it.
I don't get it. Like you don't get me.
Yeah.
You try explaining yourself, but they don't understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was hard.
And then what was life like after school? What did you decide to do after school?
So after I finished school, like I just left, and then my mum put me in a course because she was just like, no, you need to be doing something. And I was like, oh, okay. So I just did it for the sake of it because like my parents told me what to do, and I was like, okay, listen to your parents. And I was just in and out of it. I never really took it serious, and I hated life. I hated it, and then my mum and dad separated, so that became a struggle, and I started disconnecting from my parents, and my mum went all churchy, so I believed in faith, but she went to a whole nother level. Like I felt we were in a cult. So it got too serious and too deep. So, and my mum didn't quite understand because she was going through, a divorce, and my dad just left, and she was still trying to fight for her husband back.
Yeah.
And so it didn't make sense to me, didn't make sense to my siblings, and I had to like grow up really fast and had to be there for my siblings because my mum she hit rock bottom, and faith, it felt crazy when we were going to church and, would read the Bible every day. So our life completely flipped. It went from like, being this fun parent to all of a sudden like completely doing nothing, not allowed to leave home, not allowed to watch TV unless it was the Lord, not allowed
Straight up.
Yeah.
Shit.
So it
That
just
is gnarly.
That's a cult.
Yeah. See, that's a cult. Yeah. Like, that was just crazy. Like I was like, man, I didn't talk to my mum for 3 months. I didn't speak to my mum for 3 months.
Hey.
I like refused to speak to her, and then I like would tell my dad like, come and save us,
Yeah.
and he just wouldn't because he had to get on with his own life.
Yeah.
But it was rough because like I was also trying to protect my siblings
Yeah.
because I
Were you
didn't.
the oldest?
I'm the oldest,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
and so I was very protective, and I didn't want them to go through that.
And you have to learn to like mask your emotions as well.
Yeah.
So you can't really go through it when
Yeah.
your youngers are going
Yeah.
through it. Yeah.
And so I had to be this hard rock of steel, and I felt like I was being the mum and dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had to grow up really fast. Yeah.
True. And how old was that? How old were you then? Like 17, 18?
I was 16.
16.
16, yep. Still
Shit.
16, yeah.
This all happened when you left school
There's
straight away.
so much change at so many different vulnerable ages.
Yeah. And it just, like, I got thrown at 16 and I felt like I was an adult and bang, bang, bang.
Yeah.
Just had to look up. And, like, my siblings were pulled out of school besides my baby sister because she still went to Kura Kaupapa, but my brothers were pulled out of school and we're all 2 years apart. And so they left high school and, like, my brothers were just really confused. They had to do homeschool, which was, like, church homeschool.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so it got really intense. And so I had to find a way for my brother to escape,
Yeah.
who's 2 years younger than me. So I put him in a course that I was in.
Yeah.
And so that's how he learned. Because he had no idea. He couldn't even, like, I would go to McDonald's and he couldn't even read the combo.
Oh my
Sure.
god.
Yeah, so it was really hard.
Yeah.
And, like, I'd always have to read to him all the time. So it wasn't until I put him in course and he just went to the library every day. He studied, got all his qualifications. He was only young.
Yeah.
He was only like 14 and he's doing this.
Shit.
Yeah. And I was like, wow. And then now he's the most smartest person out.
True.
You'd look at him and you'd be like, whoa, this guy couldn't even read. And now he's the most intelligent out of all of us.
Yeah,
Wow.
true.
Yeah.
Damn, that's
so
crazy.
cool. And so then you weren't boxing at any of this time, were you?
I was boxing, like
Oh,
I
you
was
were.
training and I was fighting, but
So
was
were you
very
doing
in and
corporate
out.
fights or amateur?
amateur.
Oh yeah. So
Like-
you have had a bit of an amateur career.
Yes. I've
Okay.
had 50 fights in amateur.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
A
and
bit.
I've only yeah.
Holy
so
shit.
I've had a lot.
Yeah.
because I started at a young age.
Yeah.
but I never took it seriously. So like I would just go in for fun and then out. I was only doing it just to please
Yeah.
my parents and whoever that was
You probably
surrounded by
didn't
me.
know at the time, but it would have been a bit of a mental scapegoat as well.
was.
Get frustration out, and especially if you were that leader for your siblings, like you would have taken on a lot of masculinity energy. So punching people and getting punched, it actually probably would have been working for you.
Yeah, it was
you
like
wouldn't
boxing
know.
rescued me.
Yeah.
At that time because I still couldn't figure out who I was and
Yeah.
what I wanted to be and what I wanted to do. So like just doing boxing and fighting at a young age, I was just doing it for fun. Like I'd laugh. I was never nervous. I couldn't care less if I won or lost. I
Yeah.
was just like, I'd fight anyone. And I'd just be like, okay, yeah, fight.
Yeah.
And I'd just fight anyone. And it was like, I'm like 13 and I just started. And I was like, whoa, okay. I went to my first nationals down in Timaru and I stopped the girl in the third round. And I was like, what the heck? Oh, wow, this is cool. And I didn't realize that I was that good. And
Yeah.
I was like, wow, because honestly, I was a pitter-patter. I was
Yeah.
like, punch and run, punch and run. That was
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
style.
Yeah.
So it's like,
It's like the opposite to Peach.
yeah, it's the complete opposite. So like, and that was my first 10 fights were all stoppages
Yeah.
because I was just so young and I was so vulnerable and,
Yeah.
you know, I was only doing it just to please people. So I'd just get in there and punch and then get out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it wasn't really serious, but people would always say to me, oh, you're really good. And I'd be like, yeah, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. And
Like
like,
it wasn't resonating for you at the time.
no, and like my coach at the time would get all serious and angus at me and I'd just be like, oh man, it's only a fight, get over it.
Yeah.
You know, that was my attitude because
Yeah.
like I couldn't care if I won or lost.
Yeah.
And he was just like, oh, that was terrible. And I was like, oh, but I won, but I don't care.
Yeah.
You know, so I think I only ever had 3 losses
True.
Shit.
Yeah. out of, I've had over 50 fights and yeah,
Oh
3
my
losses
God.
and 2
Damn.
draws.
That's why it was fun for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Demolishing everyone.
And I fought in so many different weights too. And I was only that young.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Right up
True.
till like 17.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you
No,
consistent
16,
that whole
16.
time? Or did you have a break from like a big
Nah, I
break?
was having breaks all the time.
Oh, yeah,
so
yeah.
I like be a school kid and then take
Yeah.
off and then come back, be a school kid.
Yeah.
True.
So I was in and out all the time.
And so when did you start like your biggest break and have kids and stuff?
17.
17.
17
True.
is when I had my first child.
Yeah.
And it's funny you say that. He was born 28 weeks, but I didn't find out I was pregnant till I was 20 weeks, and I was still competing.
Holy shit.
Ah.
Yeah,
And then he was born at 28 weeks.
he was born at 28
my
weeks.
gosh.
Yeah, because like I didn't show, and I was very
Yeah.
skinny,
Yeah.
and I was still getting regular periods.
What is-
Athletes
28 weeks
often
mean?
don't show. Well,
What do you
think I'm almost 20 weeks. So it would mean in 8 weeks, baby would be due.
Oh, and what's the full thing?
40.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
That's
So-
really prim.
It was very early.
So was baby in Niku?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was born early, and he had a hole in his heart.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
Yeah, so it was a tough 5 years of,
Yeah.
with him because we had him on a heart monitor. But I was lucky I had such a beautiful family.
Yeah.
On my dad's side, they supported me 100%.
Yeah.
And it was very confusing, and I just thought, okay, I want to be adult now.
Yeah.
So I thought,
Yeah,
I'm having a
yeah.
child. I thought I was super cool. Honestly,
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I'm going to be the best bum. I'm going to
Yeah.
be cool as. And then I was like, yeah, I'm going to be tough too. So you're like, your attitude changes
Yeah.
once you've had a child. And like, so I was in and out of hospital. He spent like his first 5 years in hospital.
Wow.
We were in and out all the time because
Having
of his hole.
surgeries?
No,
No?
I wouldn't have surgeries.
Yeah.
They tried to put steroids in me. I said no.
Yeah.
Because I was so anti about it. I was like, nah, don't give me any of that. No, don't give my son that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I fought for that
on
because
you.
there was a lady that had her baby the same time and had all the steroids and the medicine in their baby, and they got brain damage. The little
my
girl got brain
gosh.
damage, lung failure, and I was just like, thank goodness
Yeah.
I
That
fought.
is straight intuition there.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't even, you wouldn't even been able to, educate yourself properly on the matters.
No, yeah.
Because it's not like today where everything's so accessible.
It
So
is.
that would have just been your intuition, your mother's instinct taking over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and because literally when I gave birth, they ripped him away from me in a plastic
Yeah.
bag. In a plastic bag. Like literally he was in a plastic bag. Like
What?
I was like, what the heck? So I lost my nana because I was like, why are you putting my son in a plastic bag? It's because to
'Cause the
still make
oxygen?
you feel like he's still in the womb.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh, right. So it keeps all the warmth and everything
Yeah.
trapped in.
And then to move him to the incubator.
Yeah, yeah.
True.
Yeah.
So how did they fix the hole in his heart?
They never did.
Oh, eh.
So he's still alive and well, and I got told he'd never last this long. He's
True.
16 years old, and he's still alive, and yeah,
And he still
I'm
has the
like-
hole in his heart.
Still has
Is
a
there
hole.
anything he can or can't do? Skydive or something?
He can't do certain things. Yeah, well, he can't play because he used to play league, and then he used to do he'd do sports like athletics and marathons and stuff, but he would always collapse. So he can't over push
Oh,
himself.
because of what can't handle the
Yeah.
amount of blood pumping.
Yeah,
That's
so
wild.
I pulled him all out of that, and now he's a professional lawn bowler.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
So he found a sport that he's really good at.
Yeah, yeah. And he
That's
can keep his heart
so-
rate down.
Yeah, and he can
Cool.
keep his heart rate down. Yeah.
Oh, my God. That's awesome.
Oh, that's mean.
Oh, I
But
love
he's
it.
he's 16 and we've never had a problem. He gets his heart checked every year
Yeah.
and he's doing well. He's strong as, and you wouldn't think there was anything wrong with him.
Oh, mean. That's
It's
cool. as.
amazing.
Yeah.
What a lot to go through for you as a young mum.
Yeah, at 17
I
and
just
had
can't
no
even
idea.
imagine.
And I got told before I even gave birth to him that he had 50-50 chance of living. So
Wait, and so you only had 8 weeks of realizing you were pregnant as well.
yeah,
And then going into that.
yeah. And literally when I found out, I was bloody scared. 'Cause,
You've just come to terms that you're pregnant.
yeah. And
And
my
all
mum
of
was
that
just
happens.
you're having this baby whether you like it or not. And I was like, it's my body, it's my choice.
Yeah.
I was going to have it anyway, but
Yeah.
I was like, she's telling me, I have no choice. But I was just like, you're not in charge of me. This is my
Yeah.
body.
Yeah.
I'm in control. But yeah, because of our faith came in.
Yeah.
So that's,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
that
true.
every life matters thing.
and then
yeah.
this is
What's
where
that?
it all began.
It's like people that protest against abortion and
Yes.
stuff like that.
Oh,
But it's
yeah.
very religious based. It's very
Very
pro-lifers.
Yes.
That's what they're called out. Yeah.
True. Never even heard of that.
Yeah, so they even if someone was to get raped and fall pregnant from that, and if a girl wanted to abort the baby, they're like, no, you know, like it's
no way.
We'll
it's
raise
life.
it with you.
Yeah, like they're
But it's
very like
still-
no exceptions type thing, eh? Yeah.
And it's quite scary. So like literally, once I gave birth to him, that's when I had no choice but to get married.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
True.
I got married at 17.
And
like
you had to
literally
marry the
after
dad.
I gave birth, and like had like my priest and my mum's priest come in and tell me you have to get married.
In the hospital.
Yep. After I've like just given birth and you know
And you're going through
I'm going
baby
through all this stuff.
blues,
Yeah.
postnatal depression, probably. Like,
Yeah. I was going through it all.
oh fuck.
And so I was just like, okay. I just agreed for the sake of it. So I was like, yeah, okay, sure.
And what was the guy like? What was the dad
He
like?
was just like, he became a stoner after that.
Yeah.
He was just like smoking weed and he was just like, yeah, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, where are we going to live? Because I was like, I don't want to go to your house.
Yeah.
And my mum was like, you can't live on my roof unless you get married because that's the rules.
Oh my god.
And so I was like,
What a
okay, I'm
whirlwind.
17. Okay, I have no idea. And my family were all against it. They were all like, you know, this is wrong. You're
Yeah.
too young.
Yeah.
And I was just like, well, I want to go back home.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'll marry him.
Yeah.
And
Honestly,
like his family
people
was
could say
all anti
anything
too.
to me straight after having a baby, and I'll agree with it.
Yeah. And that's what I did. I just agreed with everything.
Yeah. You just
And
think
so
like, oh my god.
I didn't want to get married. I was
Imagine,
like, what
like-
am I doing?
Yeah.
Why am
you
I
were just
doing
living
this?
your life 2 months before that.
Yeah. So I was just like, okay.
That is crazy.
And like I tried to run away. Like I ran away because like I was trying to avoid to get married because like I had
Yeah.
already agreed and because I respected my mum. But I was just like, I don't want to do it. So I kept changing my mind. And even though my son's in hospital, so I'd run away and then I'd go stay at my auntie's. And then my mum would call the police and I'd get dragged all the way back home. So it was just really crazy. And I could understand, like, I looked back then and I'm like, man, my mum was just evil. But she was in a dark place as well.
Yeah.
So I think my mum felt faith was the only thing holding her together.
Yeah.
And she
That
was only
happens.
trying to stick to what
Yeah.
the Bible was telling her.
And that's crazy. You only learn that stuff about your parents once you get to like a certain age.
Yes.
eh?
Yeah.
Then you're like, oh, that's why my fucking parents done that.
Yeah.
Even though you don't think it's right
Yeah.
at the time, when you get older, you're like, oh, that's why they. But at the time, you're like, fuck these guns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I hate you.
Yeah.
Like, you're not a mother.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's what I would always say. And I'd be like, can you just leave me alone? Get out of my life. But she only knew what her pastor told her and then what
Yeah.
the Bible told her. So
Yeah.
I've learned
And she
now.
got into all of that when she was vulnerable herself.
Yeah, and because she
So-
was going through a breakup and she couldn't get over it, so she was
Yeah.
broken too. And I think the faith was the only thing that was keeping her alive
Yeah.
and keeping her
They
insane.
feel that love from that church community and stuff.
Yeah,
It's like it fills
and she
a
felt
certain hole, eh?
accepted. Yeah,
Yeah.
So that's why I was just like, back then I hated her. Our relationship, like me and my mum's relationship, was the worst ever. It
How
was
are you
really-
guys now?
We're good now.
Oh,
like
great.
the last 3 years since like me professionally boxing, I would have to say the last 2 years has been our best.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, wow, like is this what a mother does? Is this what my
Yeah.
mum like, oh my gosh. And I finally understood why she did the things she did for
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
Like I used to think she was so cruel and I hated her for so long. And then I finally let that hate go. And I started realizing that she was just doing her
liberating, eh?
best. Yeah. And
Yeah,
so
I've-
now I love my mum.
Gone through not extreme like that, but
Yeah.
I've had a really like turbulent relationship with my mum, and over the last 3 years I've also like let go of a lot of that hate and just gone more into acceptance and forgiveness, and
Yes.
it feels so fucking good
It does. It's a
to let
relief.
go, eh? Just
You
to
feel
let
like this
go.
bloody heavy weight just come off your
Yeah.
heart and chest. And then
Yeah.
you feel like you can just be yourself now.
Yeah,
And
totally.
you can explore the world better
Yeah,
and
yeah.
see it way better.
Yeah. And almost like for me, I was like begging for my mum's love and stuff, and to let go of that and let the relationship form is just so cool.
Yeah, it is.
So nice.
I didn't realize that I could actually have a relationship with my mum because I was the worst
Yeah.
out of all my siblings. Like I just could not connect. I hated her for so long.
Yeah, that's the same
She
with
was the
me.
devil to me
Yeah.
Yeah. And now she's like my angel. I love her.
Yeah.
And like now we're best friends. And now
Yeah.
I can't part away from mum.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh no, you need to live with me.
Yeah. That's so funny.
But you have to read the
like-
Bible. No.
Yeah. No, not anymore. She reads it to herself now.
I know, like my mum came over last week and she was teaching me how to sew because I really want to start making my kids clothes.
Yeah.
And Tim was just like, "What the fuck is going on?" Like, never thought I'd see this. It's so
crazy.
cool, though.
Yeah, it is crazy.
And so, how did you think any of your upbringing or stuff that you went through contributed into like who you seek to love in, like partner wise?
Yeah. Now this is where it begins.
Yeah,
So I've only ever been with 2 people in my life
yeah,
because I was always brought up to respect yourself, love who you are, and whoever you lay in your bed with, that's your partner
yeah,
for life. Like you don't share your body. So that's what I was taught.
yeah,
And so I was very protective of who I went with.
yeah,
And so like when I met my first partner and I first met him and I lost my virginity to him, I was like head over heels because
Yeah.
you're like, it's your first time and you're like, wow, this is what it feels like. At first I felt disgusted because I was like,
Yeah.
ugh,
yeah,
like, ooh, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't actually know what it was like.
yeah,
And so at first I was like, oh, I felt really disgusting in my own skin. Like I was like, what happened to me?
yeah,
And so I didn't quite understand. And then at the same time, my dad had left. So I was seeking for a male in my life. And
Yeah.
and my papa, who was my best friend, had passed away too.
Yeah.
So I had lost all the men that I trusted. They had just completely vanished. So when I met him, he became my first love and I lost my virginity. So I trusted him because he was the only male that I saw.
Yeah.
And so I started following his ways and I started being like, oh my gosh, this is love. This is true love. And I thought, okay, I'm on top of the world. You know, you feel like you're amazing and they make you feel $1 million. Not realizing that as the years go on, he's actually molding you to how he wants you to be.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so I didn't quite understand that until like I had my second child. My first child, you know, it was all perfect. And then we got married. And then I swear after I got married, it just went downhill.
yeah,
It just started becoming his way or no way. And I was
Yeah.
like, and then all of a sudden I started understanding like drugs and then alcohol. I never touched drugs, but I had touched alcohol, but I didn't understand what drugs were. And like I started seeing marijuana and everything. And I was like, what the heck is this? And he came from a gang family, which I didn't truly understand what gangs meant because I
Yeah.
was brought up in such a loving family. So when I saw what gang he came from, it was like, okay, is this how life is meant to be? And that's how life was. Like his dad was very aggressive. He had multiple brothers and it was just very violent. And so to me, it started becoming normalized.
yeah,
And I just started following that and realizing, okay, this is how life is meant to be. This is how every relationship's meant to be because I was surrounded by their circle and I had left my circle and I had left my family. So growing up with his family
yeah,
was very different and I saw a lot of violence. I saw a lot of aggression. I saw a lot of drugs, alcohol, and just what gang life was all about. And it was quite scary, intimidating, and I struggled with it. But I did it because I thought I loved him.
Yeah.
So I stayed in that.
Yeah.
And I started not valuing who I was, and I just thought, this is all I can get, this is all I need. And I made a commitment.
Yeah.
You know, I made a commitment, I married this man, so I'm stuck with him for life.
You probably also didn't want another male to leave you
Yeah.
as well.
That's exactly right. I did not want another male to walk out on me,
Yeah.
and that's what I was scared of. I was living
It's
under his
amazing
fear.
what you can put up with
Yeah.
just to not feel that emptiness again.
No, because you're too scared to feel lonely.
Yeah.
You're so scared of feeling lonely, and then also you're scared of leaving that.
Yeah.
So you don't know if you do leave, what's going to
Yeah.
happen.
The repercussions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was the scary thing,
Wow.
and I struggled with it a lot. So I was living in a life that I thought was happiness, but in my head it was happiness, but also it was abuse and violence. So after I had my second child, which was my daughter, that's where the violence all began.
Right.
And that's when I started seeing the true colours of what gangs were all about. I was just treated like a dog.
Yeah.
That's the best way to describe it.
Sure, how bad? Give us a little scenario.
So I'll tell you a story. I've tried to run away, and I've had my legs tied to a towing rope and dragged by a car and dragged into the water. So, like in the shallow bit, and just dragged in through the water and dragged across the sand. And then also as soon as untied me and constantly drowning me, bashing me, had steel cap boots thrown to my head. I've had a crowbar during my sleep.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and I've had my face smashed to a concrete. So that's just a little taste of the journey that I've had, and my children have witnessed that.
Oh my God.
And the worst one would have to be what changed my life was when my daughter witnessed me getting bashed. It was Waitangi Day, I'll never forget it. And he showed up to our house, jumped in the window. My daughter was in the room with me, and we're just fighting, and I'm like, what the heck are you doing here? And he's off his face, I can tell. And he just, because I was in his way, he was like, you better move before I stab you. And I was like, no, you get out how you came in. And because that's my stubborn attitude, because I thought, okay, I'm strong, I'm going to take him on. And he literally tried to throw a knife at me, and my daughter jumped in front of that knife. I'll never forget that day. My daughter, the courage and strength that my daughter, she was only 8 years old, jumped in front and saved me that day.
Oh my God.
Because if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be sitting where I am today. She is basically the one that rescued me and jumped in, and he stabbed me in the shoulder. So it missed me completely and only got slightly on my shoulder. I still have the wounds. I'll never forget it. And I don't think he still remembers till this day that he done it. And she ran over to the neighbours, and the neighbours came and got him, and he got arrested. And that was the day that changed my whole life, and I stopped living in fear. Because 10 years of running.
10 years.
10 years, so 8 years. 10 years I was with him, but 8 years of running in fear. So I've been to the top of the North Island, to the bottom of the South Island, living in fear, and I've lived in my car with my kids, and then also dumping my kids with my family. And my uncle's been bashed by them, so I tried to keep my family out of it to protect them. And also I've been to Australia, and still I lived in fear over there. I thought I could get away, but they followed me wherever I went. I've been out in public, and I'll be with my 3 kids, and he would literally abuse me, and no one would do anything to help me. I could be anywhere, and he'll just bash me in front of anyone, and people wouldn't even call the cops because they were afraid of them. So it's been very tough, and I struggled, but I always went back because I thought that was the way of keeping people safe. I was trying to keep my kids safe and keep myself safe.
Honestly, I'd probably do the same thing to keep like the people I love safe.
Yeah. And
Just,
so
like, kinda
I always went back
sacrifice
to
yourself.
it. Yeah. And I'd rather just take the hiding and live and hide.
Oh my God.
And like literally I've been in a real mental illness, like really bad. My mental health was really bad. So like I've wanted to commit suicide. I've slashed myself. I've hanged myself. I've done it all. Like people wouldn't even know.
How did you survive it?
My kids. So I'd hang myself, and then I would realize all of a sudden like a vision of my child would come, and I'd just be like, shit, I don't want to do this. And then I've slashed myself all on my hands so many times and across my legs. People wouldn't even know because I got sick of beating, and I wanted to feel pain, what real pain was. and I couldn't feel it because I was so numb to pain because the amount of beatings I got. And it wasn't just from him, it was from his side of the family. You know, they would bash me as well.
Yeah.
And, you know, and the gangs, and they would witness it and they'd see me get bashed and do nothing about it because that was what they were brought up to. You know, it was normalized in their family. And so I thought it was normal. And so I felt trapped and stuck, and because I was too scared. So the only way I wanted to feel pain because the beatings weren't making me, they were numbing me. So by me slashing myself was a good way of feeling pain. And I was like...
And like in getting to inflict it yourself,
Yeah.
I guess.
And I blame myself because I blamed myself every time while I was in this relationship because I made a commitment to this man. I chose to love him. I chose to have children to him. You know, so I blamed myself for so long. And I never wanted to escape because I was too scared to escape because every time I ran away, I was only dragged back in. And I'll never forget the words. It's like, you're my property. You're not allowed to go to anyone. And that was drilled in my head. So, yeah, and I've lost everything. I've had my home taken away from gangs. And I've walked into a home where there's just drugs, alcohol. It's a mess. It's disgusting. And I've lost everything that I built in a home for my kids and lost it all. And I remember my children seeing me drown in a bath and just getting my face smashed. So, like, those were kind of like, I numbed myself from all that. And also, like, I'd get dumped in the middle of nowhere. Like, I could get dumped out in Piha and I'd have to walk all the way home bashed. I think the worst thing ever was when I was in town. This one still gets me till this day. I was in town and I drove him there because he wanted to go to town. So I drove him there and I stepped in the car because I had to listen to what he wanted. Then he came back to the car and then all of a sudden just started randomly bashing me. And he had an axe and it just missed me. And I jumped out. He ripped my clothes. I was naked in undies and a bra and cut and slashed and bashed. And I remember going to the hospital and asking for help and I got turned away. And I could have been in a gutter, but lucky I was mentally strong. I got up, I had a fat lip, and I went to the office at the Auckland Hospital and the lady was like, we can't help you here, because I looked like I was on drugs, but I wasn't. I was just bashed and my clothes were all
And
ripped.
imagine your adrenaline at that time as well. Like, anyone would look like they're on drugs.
Yeah, and like I just looked like a complete mess. So they didn't want me there. So I walked out there with ripped clothes and I asked a random person, can I please ring my auntie? And I rang my auntie and she came and picked me up. And I was like, I don't want to get you involved. Otherwise it could be dangerous. And my auntie like tried to make a stand. You know, she's a little old lady. And she helped me, pick me up, but she was in tears. And she was just like, this can't go on anymore. And I carried on because I couldn't escape. It was a true struggle. And that went on for 8 years straight.
Fuck.
I just can't even
imagine that.
I can't even talk.
Yeah.
When I was having one of the kids in hospital, he had a fight coming up.
Yeah.
And he was shadow boxing, like, in the little cubicle. And as soon as he stepped out, one of the nurses came in and she was like, are you okay? Is everything all right at home? Like, we could see him punching and stuff. I'm like, yeah, everything's fine. And I asked, like, why did you ask me?
Yeah.
Because I just have definitely, like, I haven't noticed racism until I've been with Tim and, like, got to experience what he experiences firsthand.
Oh, yeah.
And so I kind of thought it was that, and she's like reassuring me, no, we ask everyone.
No, they
that
don't.
comes in.
No,
They
no
don't.
way.
And
They
now
don't
I'm just
ask.
like, they so don't.
No,
They don't.
They don't.
They don't help everyone either.
No.
Like, I've been out and I've like begged people, even dairy owners, bakeries, please help me, please. And they can see I'm getting abused. but they just turn a blind eye. And it's like, wow, I swear, like I said to myself, if I ever see that, I'll never turn a blind eye from anyone.
Never.
So like when I see it happening, I'm the first person on the phone calling.
Yeah.
Even though I know that the health system lets us down, the police let us down. And then like, because the police have let me down so many times. And like they say they're going to lock him up, but it's not till he goes to court and then it's his word against mine.
Yeah.
And they've got a whole gang against me.
You're just another stat to them as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
So it's like, you can never defeat it. I even had it flip. He even turned it into where I ended up having a warrant out for my arrest.
Fuck.
That's how clever they are. Like, they know the system off by heart.
Yeah, they do.
Like, people think like, well, why didn't you get out? Couldn't get out because if I did call the police, I would only get another hiding the next day because they'd find me.
Yeah.
Like, the police can't hide me. The police can't. They say they put you in a women's refuge. They know where those all are. They're not, people.
They work on a system as
Yeah.
well. Like, unless you're dead, he's not going to jail.
Yeah.
He has to murder you first.
Exactly. And that's how
Like-
it happens. And like, the police let us down, the courts let us down. Like, I never trusted the police because when I did call the police, they always let me down. And like, I would try press charges on him, but they'd get dropped because it would be just me against 20 of them.
Yeah. So what would you say to ladies that are like stuck? Because there'll be hundreds of thousands of people stuck in that situation. How would they get out?
Like, the only way that I made it out, and the woman that I'd say to this day, I'd say don't talk to one person, like tell multiple. Like, don't just tell one person, because that's what I did. I only told one or two people and they let me down.
Yeah.
But you've got to let them be known.
Yeah.
You can't stay silent. You've got to tell everyone. You've got to tell police. You've got to tell lawyers. You've got to tell, social workers. You've got to tell your friends. You've got to tell your family. You've got to tell multiple people because then the more you tell, the worse it is for them because they've got nowhere to hide.
Yeah.
But the less you tell, the harder it is for us to hide because then we're hiding them and we're saving and rescuing them. So the more you tell, the better it is.
Yeah, true.
And allowing and making sure that you've got a whole bunch of family being right by your side. Like, that was the wrong thing I did. I thought I was protecting my family.
Yeah.
But I actually was making things worse when I should have told my family because they would have had my back. They would have had my, they could have been the extra voice that I needed against him.
Yeah.
So that's where I struggled. So I always tell women, like, don't tell one person, tell multiple people.
Yeah.
Because if you keep it just to one, that's how you're saving them. But if you keep it to 100, if you tell 100 people, then everyone's looking at them.
Yeah.
And that's what they don't want.
Yeah.
They don't want anyone looking at them. So the more you tell, keep repeating it, keep telling it, and get people to ring on your behalf as well.
Is there a woman's refuge, or is it kind of the same?
I am so against women's refuge.
Right.
Like, they never helped me. They never saved me. And all those people that, when you go through domestic violence, there's other people that ring up and call on you. But it's like, they don't actually check on you. They just call. Yeah. How's a call going to save us?
Yeah, exactly.
Because I could get the call and be like, he's sitting right next to me and I'll be like, oh, yes, I'm okay. Yeah, I'm doing really well. He's right next to me. So I have to say what.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I'm going to get myself in trouble. They would never show up at my house. They would never come and check on me. And I've just filed the report and everything. And they'd say, oh, yeah, okay, we'll come check on you. They never showed up. There was no one like physically. You have to show up physically and see us.
Totally.
Because if they actually came and saw me physically, they'd see all the beatings on my face.
But if places like Oranga Tamariki and stuff do that about children, like, why is a mother not worth just as much as a child?
Exactly.
I don't get it. Like, why do you do all these welfare checks for kids? I guess kids are valuable in some sick way. But why is the woman not protected? Why are they not checked on?
Because we're actually not checked on. They only call us.
Yeah.
They only ever called us and probably would come check on us once. And that's it. You need to keep it regular. You have to keep checking on us to making sure we're safe.
Yeah.
Because if they did that, then that would have helped. But
is it a big, like, a big government-funded thing? I've never heard of women
I think
refuge.
is it
or whatever.
government? It's not private, is it?
No, I think it's government.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, fuck, they
All
need to
the
step that shit
government-
up. What the fuck?
Yeah.
All the government things are like that.
Real shit, eh? All the
Yeah.
government-funded stuff is shit. Is the people that have passion for it? Like,
It's
if you
because
started one,
yeah.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
you got
Yeah.
it funded, like, that are like a non-profitable organization, they would take
Imagine
over the whole country.
a bunch of boxers coming around to check on you.
Yeah.
That'd be
Yeah.
the shit.
But like, see, because I've been in it, like I understand how gangs work. I understand their mentality.
Yeah.
So I know how to approach a woman. So like, I would know how to help that woman.
Yeah.
Because they will say things just to please you and make sure that they're safe because they're only trying to protect themselves at the same
Yeah.
time.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
they're
yeah.
living in fear. But like, if I did that, I would know exactly how to approach
Yeah.
a woman
Yeah.
and
a lot
I
of
would
those
know how to
people are
save
just
them.
done like a social worker course or
Yeah.
you know, and
Yeah.
it's just a job.
It is. It's just a job to
Yeah.
them. But it's like, for me, it's not. It's more than a job.
Yeah,
you
It's
really
their
care.
life.
Yeah.
Their life is precious.
Yeah.
And because they judge them because they're on drugs, some of them don't have a choice. You know, they're being forced to do drugs.
Yeah.
I was forced to do drugs, but I wouldn't do it. I'd
Yeah.
rather take a beating.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing I never touched was drugs. Because I was like, you're going to have to kill me if I wanted to
Yeah.
do these drugs.
Yeah, yeah.
But every other woman doesn't have a choice. Like, I know I've seen it right in my face. Like, they get fed the drugs.
Yeah. And it's probably an escape for them as well.
It is. A lot of them
It's
just do it to
numbing
numb.
themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they don't want it. They don't know how to live life as well. Like,
Yeah.
that's the same for me. Like, you know.
Especially like when you've tried to seek help and there's no way out.
Yep.
I'd do the fucking drugs.
Yeah. I would say that to myself, like, I wish I just take the drugs, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't because I was
Yeah.
so anti. You know, I grew up on a beautiful family. I've never
Yeah.
touched a cigarette in my life because I watched my papa die of that. So I was real
Yeah.
anti about it. So I was just like, you're going to have to kill me if you want me to take that.
Yeah, it's good how you stand on your like values, eh?
Yeah.
Just even through all of that shit, like I would be
Yeah.
if I went through that, I'd be the biggest drug addict you ever met.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like,
I know. Everyone
100%.
said that. Like, everyone thought I was on drugs because they were like,
You have to
she's
be.
on drugs.
But
Yeah.
the thing is, being on drugs, you can't really be a good mum.
Yeah.
Getting a hiding, you can still be a good mum.
Yes.
And that's probably what kept
Yeah, I know,
you.
but like living through that and then getting offered drugs, you'd be like, yeah, hard out.
Yeah.
Like that's so strong that you could just
And it's so
stick that.
easy.
Yeah.
It's so easy to because it's
Yeah.
right there and
Yeah,
they've got
yeah.
it all. But I was just like, nah, I'm not touching that.
Good
No
on
way.
you.
I don't want that shit.
Good on you.
Because I saw what it
Amazing.
done to them.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm such a control freak. I
Yeah.
love having control of my body.
Yeah.
Like even when I drink alcohol, it's like,
Yeah.
I'm like, I only go so far and I'm like, nah, that's enough.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've had
yeah.
enough. I can never go over
That's
because
awesome.
I get too scared and paranoid. Like, I'm losing myself. I'm like, nah, and then I start eating because I love food.
Yeah.
So that was what kept me
I
insane.
love that.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's definitely helped you on your journey, yeah. Like
Oh,
having
yeah.
that strong mentality.
100%.
Fuck, that's such a crazy fuck.
So how?
I'm
how
still
have you-
blown away from that whole thing.
Yeah, I'm trying not to.
There was
think
some
as
fucking
much
like
about
sawdust in my eye or something before. I don't know.
And that's just the surface.
it. True.
Yeah, that's just the surface.
Well, as well, because it's the physical, and then there's the whole mental.
Yeah, like I preferred the physical than the mental.
Yeah.
The mental was the hardest. Like I would rather get a bashing because the mental side of things, I hate the word bitch.
Yeah.
I hate the word female dog because that's all I was called most of my life.
Female dog.
Yeah, you female
Oh.
dog, you mutt.
Oh my
And
god.
so I was always called that constantly. And I lost value for who I was because I was always told, you're ugly, you ugly piece of shit. So I hate those words. And I believed it. And I couldn't stand looking in the mirror. I was
Yeah.
so scared of the mirror. I hated looking at myself. I always tried to scrape my face. Like, I loved seeing a bruise on my face. I would always scratch my face, attack it, because I couldn't stand my face because the words got into my head. And it just constantly, I was drilled in my head all the time. So I couldn't cope.
Yeah.
And so if I saw a bruise, that was normal to me. So I was like, okay, yeah, that's okay. I felt that was good when I had
Yeah.
a bruise, when I had a big fat lip or smashed face. You know, cut. If I didn't have any, I would like purposely try cut myself in my face.
Do you know, it's kind of like I'm just relating it a little bit to how everyone's like, you're the champ, you're the champ, you're the champ. Like, I don't think you like being labelled at all.
No, I don't. Yes,
Like,
you're right.
You don't want to have any label. You want to be yourself.
I love people just calling me Mea Motu.
Yeah.
Like I always say, I'm just Mea.
Yeah.
Like everyone always says, oh, but you're the champ. And I literally don't like those words.
Yeah.
Because you're right. I don't like being labelled because I was labelled most of my life.
Yeah.
So I hate I hate titles. Don't give me a title.
Yeah.
I'm real anti about titles. And so I'm always like, when I have to kind of accept it.
Yeah.
But it makes me cringe inside.
Yeah.
So when people do say like, oh, you're the champ. And I'm just like, inside my stomach makes me feel really sick.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, just call me Mea.
Yeah.
No, don't call me the champ.
Yeah.
Because I'm only that in the ring.
Yeah.
I'm not that outside the ring.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah.
And like, labels outside of your name can't really define who you are.
Yes.
You know, you can't look in the mirror and be like, that's what I am.
Wow, you're the only one that's picked that up. No one's
Really?
ever said it. Wow.
I think it's part of this journey of like what I'm learning through meditation at the moment, and it's kind of just being attached to nothing and just, but I can just pick that up that you really don't like
Yeah, I
a
don't.
label.
I don't like any, I don't like being called world title. I don't like that. Like, a fight's just a fight to me. It's what I do. It's what I love.
Yeah.
It's all about learning for me. And just, the biggest thing for me is I love inspiring people.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter what age you are. Like, when people say, oh, but I'm 40, I'm like, don't you dare limit yourself.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a number.
Yeah.
I literally hate those things. So I love
true.
it when people can learn off me.
Yeah.
That's the greatest thing for
Yeah.
me. Like, that feels like winning a world. That
Yeah.
feels a champion.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
to me, when I've like saved a life or given someone, hope, that's better than winning a world title.
Yeah.
That's what I love the most.
Yeah. You can see it as well. Just especially like the mental side of things, how you're involved with I Am Hope and Mike King and stuff. I just think that's so cool that you've gone down that path, especially when you're still so active fighting, It's normally like, oh, I finish fighting, then I get into this, like, while the spotlight is on you. It's amazing that you're using that to direct it to something that's so needed.
Yes.
Like mental health and suicide, like our rates are out the gate in New Zealand.
It's really bad here in New Zealand. And because I understand it, because I went through it.
Yeah.
I was that person.
Yeah.
I literally went through that mental health and I wanted to commit suicide.
Yeah.
I've been in the darkest hole. And so I never want that for anybody. It will break my heart. Yeah. And if I can, and if boxing gives that vehicle and to save a life, then life is way more precious than winning a stupid world title.
Yeah.
And if that title can give life to people, then I'll keep doing it and I'll never give up because I'm fighting for them. I'm fighting for the people that are being through my struggle or that are going through it because it's real.
It is.
People are so judgmental that they literally don't have an understanding. Like literally just understand and be a listening ear to the people that are actually going through struggle.
Yeah.
Because it's actually very hard. People don't understand, like they're still learning in life. There's people that are 50 that are still learning. Meet them where they're at. Because we think that, because we're always constantly thinking we have to give, like we expect the expectation from them. We're like, no, you need to be here, here, here. But what gives you the right to tell them where they should be? You should actually listen to where they're at and meet them where they need it. Because so many people just always want this. And it's like, they can't do that straight away. Be patient and meet them where they're at and just nurture them.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what age they are, just meet them where they're at and just give them. But everyone always needs nurturing and caring.
It's so true.
Whether they're on drugs or they're not. There's always a reason why they went there. So have an understanding. And that's what I've learned. Is truly don't judge people on if they're on drugs, if they're on alcohol, if they've been through domestic violence or if they're the abuser. Because, for me, the greatest thing that I've learned last year is that I forgave my abuser. I forgive him. I truly forgive him. And the reason why, because I actually didn't quite understand the lifestyle that he had been through. He only learnt what he knew.
Totally. Product of his environment.
Yes,
Yeah.
product of his environment. And it wasn't his fault.
Yeah.
He was only doing what he saw as a kid, because that's all he saw as a kid.
Yeah.
And so that was normalized. And he was surrounded by gangs. That's normalized to him.
Yeah.
So he only stuck to it, and it wasn't his fault.
Yeah.
And that's why I met him at where he was at. And I
Yeah.
realized I have to have an understanding. What gives me a right to judge him for what he's done?
Yeah.
Yes, he's done wrong, but all he has to do is apologize.
Yeah.
And he apologized. And so I forgave him, and I met him where he's at.
That's so
That's powerful.
incredible.
Yeah. Because, I don't want to see, no one deserves to die.
Yeah.
And everyone deserves a chance, and everyone deserves help. Whether it takes 20 chances, 30 chances, people are always going to hit the rock bottom. But what gives us the right to keep putting them in the grave?
Yeah.
And that's why people always end up killing themselves. It's because we become so judgmental and we're like, nah, you're a bad person, you keep going down. But it's not their fault. They're only
Yeah.
doing what they've been taught.
Shit.
It's so true. I think about some of the people that I judge because of what they're doing, but it does come down to hurt people.
Yes.
And that started, their journey with being hurt started somewhere.
Yeah.
And then, whoever inflicted that on them, their journey started somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the whole judgmental
Perspective,
thing.
Everybody's right in their own eyes.
Yes.
Yeah.
They always think, I was always like that for ages. I always think I'm right.
Instead of actually coming down to where they're at and
Yeah.
actually having an understanding of their life and what they're going through.
Yeah.
Because in their head, their vision is different to how we see it.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
how we see it is completely different to what they are seeing.
Yeah.
And so that's what I've learnt. And I teach my children. So the greatest thing is how I learnt all this was through my son. My son, who's 10 now, he was 9 last year. He wanted to commit suicide. He was in a dark place because he felt like he was in a tug of war between me and his dad. And he wanted to have a relationship with his dad, but he didn't want to hurt my feelings.
Right.
And I was like, what gives me the right to control my children from stopping them from seeing their dad? That's not right of me.
Yeah.
I'm stopping their growth.
Yeah.
I'm stopping them. I'm teaching them bad habits.
Yeah.
I'm teaching them that, no, when someone's bad, you don't ever talk to them, you don't accept them, you don't love them. What gives me the right to tell my kids how they view their dad?
Yeah.
It should be up to them to make that relationship.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized, I was like, wow, I really got to open my eyes. If I want my children to be loving and kind and not be evil, then I've got to forgive and let go and show
Yeah.
my children, because they're only watching me,
Yeah.
and I'm their role model.
Yeah.
So I learnt that through my son. And then my son, he was getting bullied at school, and this boy teased him, and he told not one teacher, he told 2 teachers. And then the next day my son went to school and he said, do you want to be my friend, to the bully? And then the boy said, he goes, oh, why would you want to be my friend when I was being mean to you? And my son was like, because my mum said always be kind. And so the boy started crying.
Oh my gosh.
The bully started crying to my son and said he was getting beaten up by his dad. And so I've always taught my children, don't add fire with fire.
See, this is the
add
shit
love.
that gets me going.
But it's if you add evil with evil, we're teaching our
Yeah.
children. That's how
Yeah.
we teach our children to be cruel. But if we teach them that love is the key, whether they keep bullying you, you just keep adding love. And I
Yeah.
always tell that to my kids. Just keep adding love even if they're being mean.
That's the kind of stuff that gets me going, is like, everything you've been through, and you've still projected love onto your kids, and to show that as well. That's incredible that your son can be like that at such a young age, eh? Like, it just shows you're so into that nurturing and...
Oh, 100%. Like, I'm really lucky because I've got such a loving family. So, like, when we do argue, my family always give love back.
Yeah.
And that's how I was raised. So I think that's why I'm such a kind, caring, loving person because I've got such a loving family.
Yeah.
Like my aunties are like my rock. Like, you know, they've helped with my kids, and especially like my oldest ones. You know, my son who had the hole in his heart and stuff. Like my aunties would just constantly love, even though I was quite a real bitch to them, like really mean. But they always stood by my side and loved me. So they always taught me that. And I always grew up with cousins that would always pick on me and bully me, but they'd always give me love and hugs and tell me, we love you, cuz. So I've just had that all my life.
Yeah.
It's just the violence in a relationship. I've had that, and I still forgave and still loved him back because of the way I was raised.
Yeah.
And I truly believed that he could change, but he couldn't.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm glad my children, all I want for my children is just to be loving, kind,
Yeah.
and have an understanding in life too. And I want them to enjoy their childhood. So the one thing about me, I let my kids be kids.
Yeah.
Like I don't, because I grew up so quick. At 16, I grew up as being an adult, and I tried to be a mum and everything. But like with my children, I'm like, no, you enjoy being a teenager because you can never go back. You can only go forward.
Yeah.
So enjoy being a child, enjoy going to school. And I always constantly drill it into them. And I always say, have an understanding of other kids that bully you and tease you. You know, be loving and kind back. And then tell the teachers, don't add fire with fire.
Yeah.
And they've turned out beautiful.
That's
and I'm so
amazing.
grateful for that.
That is,
That's like the
a
true
good mum.
success, eh? That is true success when you see your kids being kind.
Yeah.
Because they don't just, I don't know, it's not something they can just put on. Like,
No. And, you know, I
it's
was
such
always...
an organic thing at that
It
age.
is. And I was always scared because, like, I don't want my sons to be like their father. So I was really scared of that.
Yeah.
So, like, the one thing is I always made sure my children were surrounded by my family and that I'd always remind them about, like, you know, I would always tell them, like, still to this day, I say, you know, your dad loves yous.
Yeah.
He'll always love yous. Have an understanding why your dad did this to me. It wasn't because of your guys' fault.
Yeah.
So I teach them that, and I always say to them, you know, whatever your relationship your dad makes with yous, that's between yous.
Yeah.
But what your dad did to me is between me and your dad, not yous. That's not on yous. That's not your guys' fault. And so they know that. And I always, you know, and their dad just only recently came out of prison. And he has a relationship with them. He's still learning how to live life out of prison.
Yeah.
But I allow him to see them because that's their choice, you know, and I want them to have a relationship because I truly believe every child needs their parents. And wherever he's at, you know, my kids will meet him where he's at. He's not quite all there, which is sad. He missed out 7-8 years of my children's life, you know, so he's got a lot to make up for it. But, you know, like my son will say to me, oh, Dad's acting a bit weird. He's doing this. And I'm just like, just meet Dad where he's at. Remember, he's been in prison for this long, so still love him for him. You know, he's only learning how to live life outside of prison.
Yeah.
And so I'm always nurturing my children because I don't want to add fire.
Yeah.
Because that only makes their heart harden.
Yeah.
And it stops their growth.
Yeah.
And what gives me the right to control my children to do that? Yeah.
It's so true. So going back to boxing, do you feel like this has helped you so much in your fights and stuff? Like knowing like you can't do anything to me that's worse than what I've been through.
Yeah, 100%.
Do you ever like have like little flashes and you're just like, you can't do anything?
I actually don't have flashes, like,
Yeah.
because that's the past.
Yeah.
And I used to, but I've let that go.
Yeah.
I've kind of just formed my own tick and what makes me aggressive.
So new promoter?
Yes.
Promotion?
New promoter.
How did that come about?
Well, Isaac, the DNL kind of just fell. And so Isaac stood by their side right to the bitter end, but then he realized that, you know, he's got to put us first because, you know, we're his fighters and he cares more about us than anyone else. So his fighters are like his babies. So he looks after us well. And he only wants the best for us. So he literally was like, okay, I'm going to have to look for new promoters. So lucky, we moved to No Limit.
Yeah.
And the reason why the reason why we moved to No Limit was because David used to be with No Limit.
Yeah.
And we were lucky that Matt Rose and that were willing to take us on because of the relationship they had with Isaac, and they trust Isaac 100%.
Yeah.
So I was like, as soon as Isaac told me, I was like, yes, I'm in, I'm all in, because I've met Matt Rose and George Rose, and they're really cool.
Yeah.
They looked after me when David was fighting in America, and so I got along with them. And so I was happy. I was like more than happy to move because I was like, yes, that means I'll get more fights.
Yeah.
Even better.
And No Limit's
That's
away,
ultimately-
that's a mean promotion as well.
Yeah, they're bigger,
Yeah.
and they always constantly have fights. So
Yeah.
I
That's
was
what
like,
you
yes,
want, hey?
that's what I want,
You
because
want
I
those
love
opportunities.
Yeah, I love fighting. So
Yeah.
just give me a fight and I'm in there.
And
So-
it's overseas.
And it's overseas, even better. So I've got heaps of family in Australia. So I was like, yes, my
perfect.
opportunity to go to Australia.
That's when's your first fight with them? Do you know? Or you speak about it yet?
No, I don't know yet. I'm got to wait till the 26th, but hopefully I can fight. I can fight under them. When can I fight under them? After this fight on the 26th.
Right.
So there's the two girls are fighting. The IBF and the WBO are fighting next week on the 13th, and then I'll fight the winner.
Oh, awesome.
So
Man. So they
fingers
make it-
crossed.
So you get another belt.
Yeah. So
Oh,
I'll get another
man.
belt. Not just one.
Yeah.
Two.
Is that your goal to get all of them?
True.
Yes,
How
I
many
want all
is
of
there,
them.
5?
Yeah.
5 belts. I want all of them. The whole lot.
Infinity stones.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
man.
you've got April 26th
Yes.
this month.
April the 26th, which is our own Peach Boxing show, which
Yeah.
is the night
At
Mea
ABA.
returns. Yep, at the ABA, going
Yeah.
back to my
Nice.
grassroots where it
Yeah.
all began.
Are you main event?
Yes, I'm main event.
Main.
I better
And
be.
who are you? Who else?
Yeah.
And who are you fighting?
I don't know her name. I never know their names.
Just
I'm
focus
real
on
bad.
ourselves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just focus on myself.
Yeah.
But all I know is she's from Thailand. So
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
yeah,
that's all I know.
Yeah.
Every
It'll
time.
be hard anyway. It'll be a long ass name anyway.
Yeah, every time everyone always asks me, like, do you know who your opponent is? I'm like, no, I never know, because I never focus. I leave that for my coach to focus on. I just
Yeah.
focus on myself. As long as I'm executing everything, then I'm happy.
Yeah. And at each camp, are you like pushing it, like getting to another level every time, or do you feel like you're just like each camp, are you trying to go harder?
Yeah, each
Yeah.
camp, it just gets, we just pick it up a whole
Yeah.
nother level. And it's like, the cool thing is I'm lucky I've got the boys to grow with.
Yeah.
So I've got Jerome and Andre to grow with. And
Yeah,
like,
everyone in their
I've
peak.
always got to try and match them. And
Yeah.
it ain't easy.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah,
They're
hard
bloody
out.
power tanks. Like, even in the fitness, I'm like, man, I get really
Yeah.
pissed off. And I'm like, damn it, they beat me.
Yeah.
I'm like, I got to beat them next
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, you
But I
guys
can-
train hard. You guys just get used to living in the dark place, eh?
Yeah, we do.
Just,
yeah.
And you just got to be comfortable there, eh?
Yeah, we got to be comfortable. That new uncomfortable is the comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hard out.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
that's sick. And how much like when you're in a camp, like what does a day look like?
Oh, tell me, where do I start? Man. So we train in the morning, and then the morning is getting intense. I like, at first it started off with like just light, but now it's starting to get more intense and harder, that it's getting harder than the nighttime. So I'm like, what the heck? And then, so we train in the morning, and that's full on, and it's normally us top fighters that train in the morning. And then we train in the afternoon, which is just intense. Like, sometimes we train before everyone, and then we jump in with everyone.
Yeah.
And it just feels like suicide.
Yeah.
But it's like, for me, I'm like, my body is dying, but at the same time, I love it. It's
Yeah.
like, wow, I'm getting pushed to another level.
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
learn something about myself every time. It's like, wow, I didn't know I could push my body that far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really amazing.
Yeah, that's sick. And is that so just twice a day? What's your nutrition like?
Oh,
You
don't
eating-
even ask about my nutrition. Depending. If I'm in camp, it's good. So like,
Are you like high carbs?
no, so like I mainly just eat fruit and vegetables.
Oh,
Yeah.
true.
That's all I eat
Oh, yeah.
in camp. And then after it, I'm like eating like chocolate, custard pies.
But do you eat carbs? Heaps of carbs or no?
Nah.
Oh, hey, just fruit, running off fruit.
Yeah, fruit and
So,
vegetables.
I'm
That's
just asking
me.
because there'd be people out there trying to figure out how to eat.
Yeah.
Try and be like you.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I can't give. I'm the worst advice, honestly. I just stick to all natural fruit and vegetables.
Yeah.
That's only when I'm in camp. Outside of camp, I'm like, when I'm not in camp, I'm like eating custard pies.
Yeah.
Cakes.
What about meat? Do you eat meat?
No, I don't eat meat.
Oh, you don't?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
True.
So I don't eat
Buzzy,
meat. Yeah.
Another athlete that doesn't eat meat. There's so many now.
Yeah, there is.
Have you ever eaten meat? Like
Yeah.
in the camp? No, like when you've been since you've been boxing?
Oh. Yes, I did the first time.
Oh,
Yeah, I did.
And
Yeah.
have you noticed the difference, like from when you stopped eating meat, then training again and doing only veggies and fruit? Did you notice the difference?
I find it's a lot. I've got more energy, but also I feel a lot lighter and less stress
Yeah.
than when I eat meat.
True.
So-
Stress from the meat, eh?
Yeah,
The way
yeah,
they're being killed.
yeah. It's
Get
like,
real deep.
but I just went off meat. Like,
Yeah.
I literally just stopped eating meat because I just didn't like it.
Yeah.
Like
My
all of a
body
sudden,
takes so long to break it down.
yeah, and like
it
I
almost
literally.
makes me constipated.
It does. That's exactly the struggle I had.
Yeah.
I would always get constipated
Yeah.
and everything. So I just stopped eating it. And it was so funny because I went off it
Yeah.
and like there was no reason why I went off. I just stopped liking the taste of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just stopped eating meat.
So ultimate goal is to unify those belts, and then just hold on, I'm going to bring up her name. Ellie Scottney.
Oh yes, Ellie Scottney.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So-
who I want to fight.
Yeah. So
Ooh.
that's
She's
her.
from UK, eh?
She's from the UK, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Where was? Yeah, that'd be mean.
And then ultimately want Amanda Serrano.
Yeah, that's the number one goal.
Yeah.
Of course. She's my
So what
idol.
has she got? What's
Oh, she's just a beast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, she's my idol, but I'd love to fight her.
Yeah.
Because, like, for me, that would just be my ultimate goal.
Yeah.
Because, like, that would be true greatness for me. Because it's like, you know, I love boxing. And I love it so bad that I only want to fight the best.
Yeah.
To be the best, I want to get in the ring and fight the best. And just know that I reached my ultimate goal.
yeah.
And she's the one that I just see as the best out of all females.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, I would love to fight her.
Yeah,
Oh,
that'd be
sick.
like-
you're
so
definitely
cool.
you're definitely gonna get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll like be my
100%.
ultimate goal. Like
Yeah.
once I fought her, I'll be like, yes, I've done it. Like I don't care what about the result. I just care that I get in the ring and fight her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
I don't.
totally.
That's
Getting
my
to that
number one
level.
goal.
Yeah.
That's
Once I've
right.
done that, then I'll feel like I'm completed.
Yeah.
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 I'll be like, yes, I've done it.
So will most of your fights be in Oz, do you reckon, coming up? Or do you think, like, how do you go with, because are they Australian promoter?
Yeah.
Yes, they're Australian promoters.
Yeah, so would they, like, can you have home fights and stuff? People travel to you, or is it more go over there for the bigger events?
It's mainly go there because that's
Yeah.
where they host all their fights.
Yeah.
But if we can come back here, then we
Yeah.
will. But yeah, it'll mostly be over there
Yeah.
or overseas. Because the only trouble that I have is that no one wants to fight me.
Yeah.
That's the real struggle. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll just chuck me in the ring.
Yeah.
As long as I don't care who I fight.
Yeah.
Because it's always learning for me.
Yeah.
I'm never
Yeah.
looking at, what if or maybe you could be this. I'm looking at just every time I get in the ring, what I learn and the growth that I've become as a fighter. Like each
Yeah.
fight I've had, I've just grown and learned something new about myself that
Yeah.
I've pushed my body to a whole nother boundary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's what boxing is, eh? It's really, when people say you versus you, they don't really understand. Like, the person in the ring is just reflecting what you're bad at.
Yes.
Like, that's what I got from boxing anyway. Like, they'd hit me with something and be like, oh, fuck, my hand's too low, or
Yeah,
something like that. So, yeah, it really is you versus you.
it is. You're your
that's
own enemy.
Yeah, hard out.
And so I'm always, what I love when I fight, I'm always wanting to push my body to a whole nother level and having no limits, so like if I've hurt myself, it's like, it's only temporary.
Yeah.
Like it always
Yeah.
can heal. So that's my attitude and my mind frame.
Yeah.
And I always look in when I fight, I'm always like, you either live or die.
Yeah.
That's the mentality I have.
How did you get through that shoulder dislocation?
Oh, yeah.
we were at that fight.
Yeah.
And we didn't actually realize until we seen the videos the next day, like more close up.
Yeah.
We were like, holy shit.
Do you reckon that was your hardest fight to get through?
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. That was my
'cause
hardest
we were
fight
like,
to get
Was
through.
it
Holy
out
shit.
the whole time?
So that was out straight away, like
Yeah.
in the first couple of, like, it would have been like 30 seconds of the fight, I think.
Yeah.
Or less than a minute. And it just came out and it did not want to go back in. But my mentality was like, you either live or die.
Yeah.
How bad do you want this?
Yeah.
And my mentality was that I can do anything if I want to do it.
Yeah.
Just do it, Mea. That's what I was saying. Just do it. And the good thing is, what even gave me more courage and more strength was that you have great cornermen. Like people always say boxing's a lonely sport, but if you've got the right cornermen, they're fighting this fight with you. You're not in there alone.
Yeah.
You've got their words and their words of encouragement, and they're telling you how to fight this fight.
Yeah.
And if you put all your trust and faith in them, you can win this fight.
Yeah.
You can get through this. And so, yeah, when it came out, I just literally pushed my whole brain to like, nah,
Yeah.
I'm going to go through this and I'm going to finish it.
Yeah.
I don't care how I finish it, as long as I finish. My body can go through anything. This is only temporary pain. Let's do this, Mea. So I kept saying that to myself. And then like by the fourth round, it finally, like, because it only popped in a little bit.
Yeah.
So it was still loose.
Yeah.
And I was still throwing it. Like people were like, how were you still throwing it? And I was just like, my mentality, your
Yeah.
mind can go through anything.
Yeah.
You know, this is just flesh.
Yeah.
You know, so if your mind really wants to do it, you can do it. How badly do you want it?
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to give it up.
Yeah.
You have to kill me
Yeah.
before I give my belt up.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that was my mentality.
That's
And
crazy.
Yeah.
She was a tough chick as well.
She was tough.
eh?
she was
Heaps of
just
those
giving
South
it.
Africans were, man.
She
Fuck,
would
yeah,
not
she
give up. And I was
know,
like,
eh?
get out of my face. Like, move.
Yeah.
She just wouldn't.
She just took it out.
She took it.
Yeah, I was like, fuck. Everybody was on the edge of their seats.
Yeah.
that
'Cause they were
was
just like, that was a fucking close ass fight,
Yeah.
man.
It
But
was
then
a
when we watched
close
the replay
fight.
and seen your shoulder pop out, we were like, no
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, I
That's
know.
crazy.
Even I still freak out to this day. Like, sheiks, my shoulder popped out. Like,
Yeah.
I can't believe it.
yeah.
And
But-
like, you would have never got through that if you didn't have that upbringing of fucking getting bashed and all that shit. Like,
Yeah.
your mind is so strong.
Yeah.
My
Like,
mind is so strong.
Knowing what you
there's
can
nothing
get through.
that, yeah, there's nothing.
But also, it was the faith of my cornerman.
Yeah.
You know, like
yeah.
Isaac said to me when I got back, he was like, "Is your shoulder out?" And I was like, "Yeah, it came out, but it's all right." And
Yeah.
he was like, "Do you want to do this?" And I was like, "Yep." And he was like, "Okay, let's go win this world title." And
Yeah.
so, you know, he reassured me and told me that I could do it. So
Yeah.
I believed in him
Yeah.
and I trusted him. And so he told me how to play that each round. And I stuck and listened to him very carefully. And truly, that's what made me win that fight. Was also not just my mentality, but was my cornerman.
He's a very
Yeah.
talented coach, eh? It's like he can see how it's going to go. He
Yeah.
can just tell you what to do,
Yeah.
and it's
That's good as well. Listening, like, heaps of fighters don't really
Yeah.
listen to their cornerman.
Yeah.
Like, they always say, fuck, as soon as I went in, I couldn't hear anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, fighters need to learn to tap into their coach on the corner.
I'm lucky because, like, see, my coach is constantly like, you know, even before the fight, like he'll just be like, "Okay, this is what I want you to work on," and he just keeps drilling his voice into us, so it becomes natural.
Yeah.
So like he's always drilling in training. So he's like anyone can yell, but man, you can't beat his voice.
Yeah.
Like because we're so in tuned. So like everyone else's voice is blocked, and all I hear is just his voice.
Yeah.
And the stadium could just over drown his voice, but I already know I can hear him in that corner, and
Yeah.
he's all I hear.
yeah.
Like you're in tune to your cornerman.
That's so
Yeah, that's
cool.
mean. So what's your record? Is it 18-0?
19-0.
19-0?
Yeah.
Sick. And then these next fights. Yeah, I reckon another, because you've only been doing, what, 3 years? But since you've been
Till
pro.
I can fall off. Till I'm
No,
as
I'm
old
saying
as
you've
I
only
can.
been doing it like being pro since 2020.
Yes.
Like, yeah, you're definitely going to be the unified
yeah.
world champ. I'll be very surprised if you don't get it.
Yeah,
Oh.
3 years. And yeah, there's going to be no losses on me.
So what's
No.
like opportunities that have popped up since you've become a world champ, like from outsources?
The greatest opportunity is being ambassador for I Am Hope,
Yeah.
which that's the greatest opportunity. Like I love that. It's
Yeah.
definitely I've found my little niche. You know, what I love and enjoy is inspiring our children.
Yeah.
Because, you know, people always talk about how they want to change, you know, the cycle, and they want, you know, the reason why bad influence keep you know, why people keep being bad, and they want to stop our children turning into gangs. No one's doing actually anything about it. Like they literally think that like, oh, these resources are going to help our children and
Yeah.
stop all the violence. But the only way you're going to change it is starting with the next generation,
Yeah.
which is our young generation. And we need to start nurturing them to change society.
Yeah.
Because we can't do it in our adults.
Yeah.
There's too many triggers. There's too
Yeah.
many like influences.
Totally.
So I'm like, for me, like it's not being mean or cruel, but like, you know, we're investing in like all these rehabs into all the adults, and it's just like half of it doesn't really work.
Yeah.
How about we
Well,
start
it's people
changing
that
it?
have never grown up in that are putting these systems in place.
Yeah.
That have no idea how it even works in there.
And
they have their own systems. Gangs have their own
Yes,
systems.
gangs have their own systems. Like
You
that's
know,
what they don't
like-
understand.
Like
and it's
banning patches. What the fuck is that going to do?
I know that's not going to stop our children from seeing it.
I know.
Like, I just don't understand. Like, oh,
And the
Yeah.
only way you can change it is by changing with our kids.
yeah.
Yeah.
If we can
Yeah.
change the way they view life and how they're seeing it, that's how we're going to change the next generation.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like for me, I'm always like, you know, I just want to go out there, inspire our children and teach them that you don't have to, because kids always think that, oh, okay, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth.
Yeah.
And that because that's what our, you know, as parents, we teach our children, if someone bullies you, you better stand up and punch them.
Yeah.
So we're adding fire to fire when we should be teaching our children, no, violence is not the key.
Yeah.
You know, teach them that kindness is the key,
Yeah.
loving is the key.
Yeah, yeah.
And then if you change that for your children, then that's where the generation will slowly start changing.
Yeah.
So we need to start putting more effort into our kids
Yeah.
because our kids are seeing way too much. The kids are only learning off their adults.
Yeah.
They're learning off, you know, teenagers.
Yeah.
And they see, you know, young 10-year-olds are watching teenagers. Oh, it's cool to pull out a gun. Oh, it's cool to have drugs. It's cool to have alcohol. You know, even as parents, you know, they see children are sitting at the dinner table and seeing their children seeing the adults drink alcohol.
Yeah.
It's normalized behavior.
Yeah.
So we're teaching our children that that's okay.
Yeah.
We're teaching our children it's
Yeah.
okay to have a vape. It's okay to have.
Yeah.
It's normalizing, and if we don't change that, then
Yeah.
our generations are never going to change. It's only going to
Yeah.
get worse.
Yeah.
And showing them that that's how you socialize.
Yes,
I hate that.
I hate that too.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, that's the reason why each generation just keeps getting worse and
Yeah.
worse.
Yeah,
Like as the years go on, it's just
Totally.
it's gone bad now.
More
Yeah.
working on the
Like
kids.
me as a kid, I remember going back as a kid, I would like be running out in the paddock and like going to the lake, the creek, and I thought that was fun. Now
Yeah.
kids are like pulling out knives and guns and thinking that's
Yeah.
fun, and it's
Yeah,
it
yeah.
ain't.
So is that like I Am Hope's main drive? Is the kids, or is
Just-
that yours? Is that what you're focusing on?
That's what I'm focusing on, but also I Am Hope gives children a voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because our kids are struggling mentally because
Yeah.
they're seeing so much bad influence.
Yeah.
And they're not, you know, the thing is where our children ain't coping. Like, you know, I look at it like you send your child to school and, you know, high school, especially high school, you send them to high school and they've got how many teachers to deal with? They've got like 4 or 5 teachers and 4 sets of different homework.
Yeah.
And then they come home, they've got their parents, and the parents are telling them, you got to do your chores, you got to do this. Plus, they got to keep up with homework.
Yeah.
And then they've got their cousins, and then their friends, and they've got to meet their friends and
Yeah.
cousins where they're at. So there's just so many stuff going on
Yeah.
that I don't know how teenagers are coping
Yeah.
because that's worse than an adult.
Yeah.
Like an adult, all they have to do is go to work and deal with the same people and the same
Yeah.
boss. But these teenagers are dealing with multiple homework, studies,
People telling them what to
pressure.
do.
That's why our kids are committing suicide.
Yeah.
And they've got no one to talk to.
Yeah.
Because we silence our kids because we just think, okay, you didn't pass, so go to your room, or I'll take your phone off. And we don't realize that we're doing that to our children.
Yeah.
So the pressure, and that's why I say always have an understanding of what they're going through.
Yeah.
The pressure for teenagers is hard. And I don't know how they're surviving. And the good thing is that I Am Hope opens that space for them.
Yeah.
It gives them a voice to speak to because as a teenager, you don't want to speak to your parents because you feel like they're only in tune to their own job.
Yeah.
You know, we get so caught up in work life that we don't realize we're neglecting our children.
Yeah.
And we don't realize that they're struggling.
Yeah.
They're actually struggling to meet these standards
Yeah,
at school.
totally.
Because, like, you know, you fail at one class and then you succeed at another.
Yeah.
But then you still feel like shit because you failed in one, but you succeed in 4.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know, we don't quite we don't actually
Yeah,
view
and
as
that's not even
adults.
mentioning like not everyone learns the same way.
Yes.
Like I struggled so bad. I had dyslexia. I couldn't concentrate because I just couldn't process what was on the board, and I didn't learn like everyone else. But if I could have been shown a video of
Yeah.
something, I would have learned, you know? So even like all that pressure, plus a lot of kids aren't learning the same way.
Yeah.
It's like, it's so much. You just sit there feeling dumb and like you've failed already.
And
At
as
such a young
parents,
age.
we don't realize how much our kids take on. That
Yeah.
it's actually quite a lot.
Yeah.
We don't realize that until you actually look at it.
Because we look at our kids as like another part of what our upbringing is.
Yes.
Oh, now we've got our kids and we're bringing them up and I've got to go and do my job and like, you know, but actually we need to invest in them.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm going to be a better parent from this.
Same.
So we always talk about it, We're like, okay, we've got this age, we love this age. And we do, like, I love how you said, like, you know, they only get to be a kid once.
Yeah.
There's so many things I do, like, if they want to call a cat a dog, that's fine. Because
Yeah.
I don't want to, like, change their imagination.
Yes.
They've only got
Yeah.
this imagination once. I'm like, I want to, like, cherish that.
Yeah.
And you do that.
Because
And
what
then we're
gives
like,
us the right to
Yeah.
stop them from having that imagination?
Yeah.
Because that's what we were stopping their growth.
Yeah.
By saying, okay, nah, you're not allowed to do that.
Yeah,
hard out.
and like correcting their colours when they
Yes.
call a colour wrong. I'm like, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Hard out.
Because that's what makes us feel stupid.
Yeah, exactly.
And we don't realize that we're doing that to our
Yeah.
children.
Yeah.
And that's
And they'll figure it out. you
They
know,
will figure it
will.
out.
It's such easy things for them to figure out. We've got to think about the bigger stuff. And we're always talking about what kind of parents are we going to be at this age? And at this age, we just, we like never stop talking about it. 'Cause
Yeah.
we're
I
like,
know.
you
But yeah.
don't know the challenges until you're at those ages. But
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely want to let them just run wild.
Yes.
Yeah.
And especially for
Yeah.
me, like with my daughter, you know, she's 15. And my number one goal is to form a trust relationship with her. So, like, you know, she tried vaping.
yeah.
And, like, our natural instinct is we turn into Hulk. Like, why would you do
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
But we're shutting her down.
yeah.
And so I never did that.
Yeah.
I was like, that's okay.
Yeah.
And I met her where she was at. And I said, what made you do it? And she was just like, because everyone else was doing it. And she was kind of shocked at my reaction because she was expecting for me to yell and scream.
Yeah.
And I said, that's okay. And then my mum went off at her and I said, hey, what gives you the right to tell her off? You know, I said, no, she's all right. And I just said to her, and then I explained to her, I don't like it because of this and that. And then when she heard how I felt, she was like, oh, I never want to touch it.
Yeah.
Like she was disgusted.
Yeah.
And then so she trusted me
Yeah.
because she
Yeah.
could tell me that.
Yeah.
And so now she trusts me about telling her friends, you know, what
Yeah.
her friends go through, what she does at school. And I have to kind of be like, I have to be a listening ear. I can't block her and be like, oh, that's wrong.
Yeah.
Because
Or
that's my
judge.
opinion,
Yeah.
not hers.
Yeah.
So I have to meet her where she at because the reason why I'm doing that is because I want her to trust me
Yeah.
and form that trust and relationship. Because when she gets older, if she meets a boyfriend and he ever lifts a hand or yells at her, she'll come straight to me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because she
yeah.
trusts
Totally.
me.
Yeah.
And my
And you'll
reaction,
fuck them up.
yeah. But my reaction will be like, if my daughter ever went through that, I would pick her up and take
Yeah.
her and leave this country.
Yeah.
I don't care where I am.
Yeah.
But because I know what it's like to fall in love, and you're so blinded. So I'll just up and leave and take her to another country, and I don't care how long. She will be hurt, but you know it'll be in a whole new environment. But she can't
Yeah.
run away back to that
Yeah.
because that guy could trap her,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that's what I don't want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll do that.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm real
100%.
big about listening to our kids and gaining that trust.
Yeah.
And, you know, if she does bad things, I have to just meet her where she's at. Don't get angry. Because if I get angry, I shut her. I silence
Yeah.
her.
Yeah.
And then she's never going to trust me again. She's never going to tell me anything.
Yeah.
So that's my biggest issue. I'm
Yeah.
always, even though it makes me cringe and I'm like, oh, why would you do that?
Yeah.
But I have to just be like, it's okay.
Yeah, yeah,
And just
yeah.
meet her where they're at because at the end of the day, I'm thinking about the long term.
Yeah.
You know, forming
Yeah.
that trust
Yeah,
and
that's a big
relationship.
one. That's what I'm doing with my son right now. He's been doing like little bits of lies and stuff every now and there.
Yeah,
And I'm like, you lying to me? And he'll be
Yeah.
like, nah. But now he's like, oh, daddy, I lied.
yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that's okay.
He's-
You just
yeah.
tell me
Yeah.
the truth. He's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
that's
you're
what
never
that's
gonna
exactly.
get in trouble
Today
for
we were-
telling the truth. Just
Today we were at Countdown and I was on the phone to Max
Yeah.
this morning and Tommy was with me and he went down the lolly aisle and grabbed the egg and unwrapped it and started eating it. I didn't even know.
Yeah.
And then I got to the checkout and I was like, where'd you get that from? He's like, I found it on the ground. And I was like, are you lying to me? He's like, oh yeah, I lied.
Yeah.
I was like, that's okay. I'll just pay for it. He's like, okay. I was like, you can't do that, okay? He's like, why? I was like,
Yeah. But because they don't have understanding.
Yeah, yeah.
So we just
Yeah.
got to nurture
yeah,
that.
yeah. I was like, you just got to
Yeah.
ask me. I was like, you just
Yeah.
got to ask me. He's like, okay.
But don't get angry with
Nah,
them,
I
eh?
didn't get angry. I just
Yeah.
stayed
Yeah.
calm the whole time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm trying to build that trust with him as well.
Yeah, because you want them. Because then once you build that trust, then they will lie for that 1 minute and then they confess and tell the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's all you want.
you see it growing up in your own experiences. Like my dad was always very trusting and like dropped me off at parties and, you know, like spoke to me about everything, wasn't strict at all.
Yeah.
And like I was so well behaved. I was never like a skanky girl or
Yeah.
anything like that. And then you see the girls at the parties that have the strictest parents and they're the ones passing out or going into
Yes.
the rooms with the guys and like it's so different. And I learnt from how my dad was like that.
Yeah.
I'm still coming to terms with I have to do that with a little girl one day
Yeah.
and be that open, you know,
It's hard.
trusting. I'm like, fuck.
It's hard.
Yeah,
But it's got to happen for the result that I want, you
Yeah.
know, and which is a trusting, loving, open relationship
Yeah.
with my kids.
Because you only just want to protect
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
want the best for
yeah,
them.
I want them to know they can always come home
Yeah.
and always come to me.
And there's always a safe space
Yeah.
at
And they're
home.
never going to be met with like yelling
Yeah.
for whatever situation they're in. I don't care
Because
what they do.
that's what we don't realize as parents. We build the fear in our children
yeah.
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 because we yell and scream at them.
Yeah.
And so we silence them. And we
Yeah.
don't realize that we're doing that.
Yeah.
And then that's how our children learn to lie and stay silent
Rebel.
and rebel, and then they hide. So it's all learning, and like
It is.
for me, especially for my kids, it's giving them the coping mechanisms
Yeah.
for life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing because we don't teach that in our children. We
Yeah.
just teach them to go to school.
Yeah.
But we actually don't teach them coping mechanisms,
Yeah.
and that's why so many of our kids' mental health goes down the drain because
Yeah.
we don't teach that. We don't teach our children how to deal with their emotions and how to cope with it. You know,
It's all
be a
like
subject at school.
external.
yeah, it should
It's all
be.
Should be a
external
compulsory.
teaching, like physical teaching. Of
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Because I'm starting work soon with some kids.
Yeah,
Work doing a for organization, and yeah, I'm just going there teaching them about mindset
yeah.
because like they don't get taught that.
No, they don't.
Yeah, and they definitely do need that.
Yes, our kids do need that.
Yeah,
100%.
because yeah, I reckon at school if we had that at my school, like wouldn't be so much violence.
Yeah,
Our school
because
was real violent.
it's violence is just only taught behavior
Yeah.
at home or what they see in their surroundings, and they don't know how to cope with it. They only know one way.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing about me why I wanted to teach my children coping mechanisms is because I don't want my sons to manifest their inside and be angry and hurt and that they'll end up lashing the wrong way. Because I truly believe that's what happened to their father. You know, he carried a lot of anger and hurt, and he carried that for so many years as a young kid, and then he just only knew one way, was to lash. He didn't know how to cope or how to deal with it. And so I teach that in my sons. I teach that in my daughters as well, is, you know, when you're angry, how to express it. It's okay to express it. It's okay to cry. Like the number one thing I taught my son is that, my oldest, I said to him, a real man cries. A man who doesn't cry has no courage or strength. Because a man that cries is not afraid of fear because he just showed you how to cry. And that's true courage and strength.
It's actually
But a man that hides and doesn't show tears and too scared to show emotions and feelings is scared. Truly is, eh?
It
Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
yeah. Scared of judgment.
Yep.
Scared of everything.
And that
Yeah.
changed my whole son's perspective. And he was
Yeah.
just like, wow, I'm not afraid to cry. I'm not
Yeah.
afraid to show emotion.
Yeah.
You know, he sees it in his own friends. And he's just like, oh, well, then you must be weak if you're trying to be tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you're afraid to show emotion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
so true.
I never thought about that before. It's another gem.
Well, this has been very inspiring. You're the most inspirational person I've ever met.
Oh,
I
thank
feel
you.
like, I don't know. really like honored to have been in your presence and be able to talk this depth with you because it's just mind blowing.
Yeah, I'm
like I feel
speechless.
like I've learnt so much.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
We definitely have
Yeah.
to do a part 2.
Yeah, 100%.
Definitely.
I think we get you and Mike.
Oh, yeah.
That would be so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, we can talk about the kids.
Because mental health is like, I feel really still like uneducated on it.
Yeah.
I want to know more.
Yeah.
Because I haven't like been so lucky to not suffer from depression or anxiety.
Yeah.
I mean, a little bit like through pregnancy and stuff, but through my life, I've been really fortunate, and I just want to understand more so I can meet people where they're at.
Yeah.
I just love that.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing I'm taking away.
Yeah.
Oh,
Meet
thank
people where
you.
they're at. I love it.
Oh, that's cool.
Thank you, Mea Motu.
Thanks
No,
for being on
thank
the show.
you.
Thanks for
Thanks.
tapping in, everyone.
Thanks for having me.
Woohoo!
Thanks,
It was
guys.
amazing. You are just so incredible.
Thank you.